Alrighty, welcome back. Today, this lesson, we're going to be looking at what they call cross-price elasticity. And cross-price elasticity, it's kind of a fancy term, but all it means is it's a way to calculate whether two products are complements to each other or if they are substitutes to one another. And that's really all it is. And so, again, complements are goods that go together, so peanut butter and jelly, and substitutes are things that give us the same utility, and so you can choose one or another. And so a substitute might be uh, peanut butter or bologna. I don't know. So let's go ahead and look at how we calculate this, because we're going to look at how to calculate it, and then we're going to look at what the values mean. All right, and then we're going to look at ways that businesses would use this information, because it would be important for a business. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's pretend that we've got peanut butter, and that kind of looks like peanut butter. All right, the color. And let's make this jelly, and this would be grape jelly. All right. So what's going to happen if the price of peanut butter were to rise by 20%? If you're Smuckers and you see the price of peanut butter going up, does that affect you if you make Smucker's jelly? Of course it does, because peanut butter and jelly are complementary goods to each other. So let's say the price of peanut butter goes up by 20%, we would expect the price of the demand, the quantity demanded for jelly to actually go down. And so we would say, let's say it goes down by 10%. Okay, because people are still going to eat jelly on toast without peanut butter, so there's still a market for jelly without peanut butter. But so how would we calculate this out? And so up here, this is the formula that you would use. This percent change in the quantity demanded of good X, all right, divided by the percent change in the price of good Y. Now, either of these can be X or Y. If peanut butter, well, here we said that this is a change in price, and that's a change in quantity demanded. So obviously, if this is the change in price, then peanut butter is good Y, and if this is the quantity demanded, then jelly is good X. And let me make one note about all the elasticity stuff that we're going to be doing. This general formula is going to stay the same for 3 of the 4 elasticities that we do. It's going to be, and actually almost all of them, at the top is going to be a percent change in the quantity demanded of something, all right, or quantity supplied for when we do price elasticity of supply. At the bottom, for 3 out of the 4, we're going to have percent change in the price of something. All right, so just keep that in mind as we're doing the next few different elasticities, because we're doing cross-price elasticity here, then we're going to be doing income elasticity, and then finally price elasticity of supply. So getting back to the example, what would the cross-price elasticity value be here? And so all we do is plug and chug with the numbers. So here's our line for the division. So there'd be 20 there, so it's a plus 20 there. That's a negative 10 there, and so the cross-price elasticity between peanut butter and jelly, we would say, is negative 0.5. All right. Now, what if we had another example and we had, say, hamburger and chicken? So we kind of assume that these two goods are substitutes for one another. And so if the price of chicken goes down by 30%, what's going to happen to the quantity demanded of chicken? All right, and we can graph this out. This would be a good activity to graph out. And so there's demand, there's supply, it's quantity and price. And so we're going to say that the price goes down, and it could either be because the supply went up or the demand went down, but we know we need a lower price. So let's shift supply out. All right, so the price goes down here. Now, what's going to happen in the market for chicken? All right, so there's supply. Nope, that's not supply. I've only been doing this 13 years. I'll get this straight one day. That's demand, that's supply. And so if this is our quantity here, what's going to happen in this graph? So the price of price of hamburger comes down 30%. What would we expect to happen in the supply and demand graph for chicken? And you would hopefully say that since these two are substitutes, that the demand for chicken is going to come down that way. All right, because more people are going to buy hamburger and not buy as much chicken. So we'll say that the quantity demanded of chicken, percent change, the quantity demanded of chicken goes down by, I don't know, 60%. We'll say they're really close substitutes. So what would the coefficient, the cross-price elasticity, be of these two goods? So XED, and so we have percent change in the quantity demanded of X, and so we're measuring the percent change in the quantity of chicken, and so that would be a negative 60, and the percent divided by the percent change in the price of Y, and that would be negative 30, and so we would say that the cross-price elasticity coefficient for hamburger and chicken would be 2. All right, so that's how you calculate it. The quantity demanded of one good divided by the change in the price of another good. Now, take a look at these. Show that substitute goods have a positive value of XED and complementary goods have a negative value of cross price. And, well, let's take care of that one first. Over in this formula over here, whenever the goods are complements, all right, whenever the goods are complements, if the price of one of them goes up, we would always expect the quantity demanded of the other to go down. So let's think of another. I know we don't have really many CD players anymore, but let's just pretend. So the CDs and CD players, all right, if the price of a CD went up, it's like you're back in the 1990s. If the price of a CD went up, what's going to happen to the demand for CD players? You would expect it to go down, and so you have it's going down there, it's going up there. Let's get a more up-to-date one today. Let's say, how about we do iPads and not Nooks, Kindle Fire. All right, we would expect that those are substitutes for one another. And so if the price of the iPad goes up, what would we expect to have happen to the demand, quantity demanded? So if the price is up, the quantity demanded of a Kindle Fire, we would expect that to go up as well. So there we've got two positives. All right. Let's think of another substitute example. I'm sorry, complement example. How about, let's see. I'm trying to look around the room and see what I got. How about staplers and staples? All right, so we've got, sorry about that, had a little brain freeze. A stapler and staples. So if the price of a stapler goes down 50%, what's going to happen to the quantity demanded of staples? And so the quantity demanded you would expect to go up. Let's say it goes up, 70%. All right, so this is a price goes down, and so here we have a negative value here, and this is a positive value here. And so what you can see with complements is the value of a complement. So complements value will always be negative. So if you're doing cross-price elasticity, or you're reading something that says it has a negative cross-price elasticity, then you can automatically assume that those two goods are complementary goods. Now, what if the value is negative 0.02? All right, the closer you get to 0 here, the less relationship they have. So these, if it was 0.02, they would be barely complementary goods to one another. All right, whereas if you had an elasticity of 20, which would be a huge, that would be a huge complement to each other. All right, so take note of that. Now let's go over and do the substitutes. We did the iPad and Kindle Fire. Let's just do the chicken and beef again. All right, so if the price of chicken goes up, that's a positive. The quantity demanded of beef we would expect to go up, because as chicken gets more expensive, we want to buy more beef. And so what do you notice about the signs here? All right, so substitutes are always going to have a positive value. All right, so with price elasticity of demand, we put an absolute value around the number because it was always going to be negative. Here, the number matters. All right, the sign definitely matters in front. So again, if we had a substitute with a value of 0.5, they would be slight substitutes for one another. If we had one with a value of 50, this would be hugely substitutable goods. All right, that should be a negative over there. Now, so that takes care of that one. Take a look at this one. It's saying explain that the absolute value of the cross-price elasticity depends on the closeness of the relationship between two goods. So let me just choose another color here real quick. And so let's say that this is 0. If the value is 0, they are not related. There are no relations. Okay? And so going on the positive side, then these are substitutes. And as you go farther up this line, so let's say that this is a value of 1 and 5 and 10 and so on and so forth. As this number gets higher, there's a stronger relationship. All right, and as the absolute value of this number gets higher, they are more strongly complementary. Okay, so as you get closer to 0, and this is why they're saying the absolute value. So the absolute value of XED. So if it's negative 15, we'll just take the absolute value. So the bigger the number, so negative 15 here, 15 over here. If that number's big, then it's a very close relationship between the two goods. And as that number gets smaller, the relationship between those two goods starts to get a lot smaller as well. So one last thing. Examine the implications of the cross-price elasticity for businesses if prices of substitutes or complements change. And so let's go back to Smucker's. All right, and they make jelly. So last year in Georgia, we had a bad issue with peanuts. All right, the peanut crop. I believe it was drought. It may have been a disease. I don't recall. But we lost a fair chunk of the peanut crop, and I'm going to make this number up. I think it's close, but we lost something like a third of the peanut crop. And so if we draw this out, we've got supply and demand. All right, let's say, we'll just say P1. If we lost a third of the crop of peanuts, then that's going to cause the price of peanuts to go way up. All right, so this is peanuts. And then let's look at the supply and demand graph for peanut butter. So if you're a peanut butter maker, and I did it again. Here's your supply and demand. If the price of peanuts went way up, the peanuts are a resource cost, and so you'd expect the price of peanut butter to go way up. All right, and they did see that this year. And so if you're Smucker's jelly and you're sitting there watching what's happening in the peanut market and then the peanut butter market, it's definitely going to affect you. And so if you're the manager and you're trying to make business decisions on how much jelly to produce, then you're going to want to know the relationship between peanut butter and Smucker's jelly. All right, because what if there is no relationship? Oddly enough, there's no relationship, then this market wouldn't even affect you. But if there was a pretty strong relationship, let's say they had a cross-price elasticity value of 4, that means that if the price changes here, it's going to have a significant impact on the quantity demanded of jelly. And so you're going to want to you're going to make production decisions based off of that, because you don't want to produce, if the demand's going to be 100 jars, you don't want to sit there and produce 300 jars and then just have them sitting in a warehouse somewhere. That's a waste of money, because then you have money just sitting around in a warehouse waiting to be bought, and that money could be going to use for something else. So when we look at how important it is for businesses, this is the importance. All right, what if I'm trying to think of a substitute for jelly. Some people like to put honey, right? So peanut butter and honey. And so what if the price of, let's see where I'm trying to go with this. Sorry about that. Let's scratch that. I was trying to think of a substitute, but, well, yeah, that was a substitute. So, nope, sorry, having a little brain issue here. So for business decisions, let's take, so now we're going to do substitutes, and we'll do chicken, stick with the chicken and beef. My brain's obviously not working, being terribly creative right now with new stuff. So price, quantity, supply and demand, and price and quantity. And so if this is our market for beef, and this is our market for chicken, all right, let's say that some government report comes out that says eating chicken's great for you, it's going to make you live forever. The price of chicken would go up. And so if you're in the beef industry, how does that affect you? if you know that the price of beef, if the price of chicken is going up, then what are you going to start to do? If you're a farmer, what do you need to do? And you need to think to yourself that if the price of chicken's going up, then the demand for beef is going to go up because more people are going to switch over to your product. And so if you're a farmer, if you're a cattle farmer, then you would obviously want to get more cattle if you can, all right? Because the quantity supplied is going to have to go up. So if you're making business decisions, again, just to recap, if you have a product that has either a substitute or a complement to it, you're going to want to be able to, you're going to want to watch that market, because whatever happens in that market is going to have a direct impact on you, and you need to make your production decisions based off of that. All right, what if Jif Peanut Butter came out with a new marketing campaign that got in, 20 million new buyers of peanut butter? That's going to affect you if you're Smuckers. All right, or if something came out that said peanut butter's terrible for you, don't eat it. That's going to have an effect on Smucker's jelly. So businesses definitely pay close attention to the cross-price elasticity value of their product with other products, and they watch the market of other products to see how they need to react and get ready to react. So we will leave it at that. Let me do this quick review. All right, so here is the cross-price elasticity. It will tell us whether something is a substitute or whether something is a complement. All right, if it's a negative value, then it's going to be a complement. Complements have negative values. If it is a positive, then it will be a substitute. All right, and this is the formula that you use: percent change in quantity demanded of X divided by the percent change in the price of Y. And then we just did a couple of different examples showing that the positive, again, that a negative coefficient tells us that we have a complementary good, and a positive coefficient tells us that we have a substitute. All right? And as long as the farther away the number gets from zero, so whether it's positive or negative, the farther we get away from zero, or the absolute value of the number, the bigger that number is, the stronger relationship those two goods have. So then we talked about the effects on business. Alrighty, that's it for this one. Till next time.